Wait, is it? No.
Everybody, I'm not sure what just happened. Our intro music did not work out for us, but good to have everybody here on. I don't even know what just happened. Our intro music.
All of a sudden, I hit the live button, and then I went, and I was like, oh no, and then it started the thing. So, anyways, guys, thanks for joining us.
It could have been worse. We could have been tubing.
I was about to pull tubing, but thank God the music.
I know. I was going to, and then I didn't.
I know. I was gonna pull a tubing, and then I decided.
You never know. You never know when to tubing, when not to tubing.
You know. I see Tubin in my neighborhood every once in a while, and every time I see him,
oh really?
Yeah, I can't get that out of my head. Anyway, see you guys here. Happy Wednesday. I am Julie Roginsky here with Michelle Kinney from the Seneca Project and JoJo from Jers from Are You Effing Kidding Me Substack, and also from the Stanish podcast. Tara Setmayer is out today, but she's here with us in spirit. And you guys, before we get to everything else we want to talk about, can we just talk about big balls?
Oh, big balls! God. Oh, poor big ball.
Big balls.
Balls
were not so big.
He got tubed in his own way.
He got hit in the balls apparently by a bunch of teenagers.
Listen, couldn't happen to a nicer kid.
Yeah, and big balls, is now being used by Trump as an example of why there needs to be a federal takeover of Washington, because apparently big balls safety is paramount. It doesn't matter that, poor Black and brown people in DC have been living not great lives for the last, my entire lifetime.
Right.
But poor big balls, once a bunch of teenagers hit him.
Didn't they carjack him?
Yeah. Big balls got jacked. I mean, it's like the jokes write themselves. Not that we're condoning violence.
No, not that we're condoning violence against big balls or anybody else.
But you know what, though? Maybe, I don't normally believe in these other worldly things, but maybe karma is real. I don't know. Here's somebody who has very arrogantly and destructively dismantled the United States government. So I don't know. I'm just kind of you don't want anybody to get hurt. We're not condoning violence, but at the same time, I'm just kind of I don't know. And now Donald Trump's I don't know. The whole thing just, that little pipsqueak.
And I just want to dispel with these rumors, these bullshit, mythology, that these cities are not safe. They say the same thing about New York, and that is, you both live there. You know that's not true. And DC, I brought my kids to DC, I forget when, over my birthday in June. And it was a lovely experience.
Yeah, I'm in DC all the time. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's fine.
I lived in DC, and DC is fine. It's like any other city. You know where to walk, you know where to not walk. And it's fine. I mean, it's fine. And the part that, all joking aside, that offends me about this whole situation, in addition to the fact that some kid named Big Balls is actually destroying our government, is that he didn't care about all the people he harmed.
No, that's
there is blood on his hands. I mean, there are people who are dying.
Yeah, let's talk USAID for starters, and the tens of thousands of people who are now dead around the world because of that little asshole.
And Gaza, that he is doing nothing about, but talking about how we're going to deliver food very strongly, and the billionaire boner bill that is about to strip tens of millions of people off of their health care and millions of kids off of their nutrition assistance. This is the thing. And the part that really pisses me off too is that they will parade one story about violence out there as the be all and end all, particularly as it happens to be an immigrant, which is statistically lower likelihood than an American citizen, male, by the way. But they don't care about school shootings, so much so that they've shuttered the Office of Gun Violence Prevention. They took down the wall at I forget where it was. What's the word I'm looking for? The ATF, the wall for the victims of school shootings, and yet this douchebag. Oh, sorry, Julie's dad. I don't want harm to fall on anyone, but we're taking this one story and making it the foundation of an argument for safety. I mean, come on, stop.
Yeah. Do you guys know that Big Ball's grandfather was executed as a KGB spy?
Yep.
Yeah.
I know.
Wow.
Apparently, he's a double agent, and somehow Big Ball's family, including his mother, was allowed to move here and live here, which always was very curious to me because that's really not how it works.
Do you think Big Balls is an unfortunate translation? Do you think there's some Russian word name and they're like, oh, that's Big Balls in English?
It was really Big Boris, but they decided to make it Big Balls. No,
oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Big Balls. All I know is that, we wish thoughts and prayers for Big Balls, I guess. I'm going to give Big Balls everything these people always give to victims of shootings and everything else. Thoughts and prayers.
Right. Thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers, Big Balls.
Yeah,
you guys,
balls.
Yeah, I hope his balls recover, and I hope that perhaps he realizes they're not as big as he thought. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten his ass handed to him by a bunch of teenagers.
Wow.
I mean, there's a taint joke I'm not making, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
You can go ahead and make it. It's
just to say taint no thing. What a chicken wing. I will stop now because that was really bad. And I feel free to roll all day long. I'm so sorry. Continue. I'm sorry. Just ignore me for a moment.
I love you, Joe.
So, I love how Joe's getting the giggles, Joe.
Yeah.
A minute.
I don't know why. I'm like, I mean, it's ludicrous that we're talking about a guy who named himself Big Balls.
Truly.
It's just, and he did big harm. So yeah. No, I mean, no. Yeah. Jacqueline, the last time I said was in DC with my kids. Everything. Yeah. We walked from old Ebbett's Grill. Mm-hmm. We walked from there to our hotel, which was not close, and it was fine, totally fine. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Yeah. BJG. I'm here all week. Try the veal. Make sure you tip your server. Yeah. By the way, just as a complete non sequitur, although it kind of does. Have you guys seen all these reports about Vegas? About how Vegas is dead?
How Vegas is what? Wait, I didn't hear you.
Las Vegas is completely dead. Like these.
Yes. Yep. And it has been.
That aren't paying taxes on their tips for the moment aren't getting tips.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Of course, they still continue to pay taxes in their tips because that was all bullshit too.
Yeah, that's insane. It was never real. And like, I can't. As someone, I worked in the service industry for years, and I'm just like it's only on, what was it? Like only on not cash tips or cash tips. It's not even like a thing. It's not affecting anything, and it's short-lived anyways. So I'm just kind of
that expires in like 2 years or something.
Right.
Yeah. It's a write-off on your taxes, assuming you make enough money to actually do your taxes in a way that an accountant does them, where you get write-offs. Mm-hmm. Assuming that you actually report your tips, which, let's be honest,
nobody does. Nobody. I mean, and that's why people. I mean,
as a server now.
Right. I mean, first of all, bartenders make a little bit more, but servers make, at least when I did, it was way less than minimum wage because it's legal to do that. So I think I was like $3.50 or $4 an hour or something like that is what you made as a server. Bartenders.
It was $2.13. That's what we got paid, $2.13 an hour. Yep.
Yeah. And so that's why, you had to factor in, okay, hopefully on average I make 20% on all of my sales. But, if somebody gives me a cash tip, then that's great. But if not, then the credit card, they tax on the credit card tips. And then that comes out of your check that you get. So sometimes I would get a check for like zero or negative something. And it would carry on to the next week. I mean, it's just, anyways.
Yeah. And it's not just Vegas, you guys. I haven't looked at the stats recently, but in the spring, Orlando has had a massive drop.
I believe it. Totally believe it.
Foreign tourists are not coming here anymore. They don't want to go to Disney. They don't want to go to SeaWorld. They don't want to go to any of these places. And the reason for that, no surprise, is because why the hell would you want to come here and get potentially arrested?
Yeah, and detained.
Definitely.
Like,
the world. Like, why would you come to Disney here when you could go to, I don't know, Paris Disney, or you could go to a bunch of other, you don't need to come here.
Is there still a Disney in Tokyo? I would go there. Probably really nice.
I don't know. But I mean, like, so you've had Florida tourism precipitously drop off, like precipitously. So it's not just Vegas.
Well, I can tell you this too. And, you know, you guys both know, and maybe if you're watching, if you've watched the show for a while, I grew up in the Elise Stefanik's congressional district, which is a huge, huge district. And it's unique in the fact that it's so much of the Canadian border, New York Canadian border, and it has a military base, and there's a lot of agriculture, and there's a lot of tourism because of, you know, the St. Lawrence River and everything else. I saw this morning, Canadian sales in the area are down 63%. Wow. 63. Let me see if I can. Here's the thing. I saw 63 on the news last night. It says spending down 60 as an average.
Wow.
I mean, in an area that is already terribly underserved, that is incredibly reliant on tourism from Canada, on Lake Ontario and St. Lawrence River areas. Again, this is the area that Tom Homan is from. He has a house here. He grew up here. This is the place where he had ICE rip away a family of immigrants from their home and detain them. They were only released because his community, you know, went up to bat for them. It was 3 children and their mother. This is an area that this is Casual Observer, Watertown. Yeah, in that area, yes. But you know, the entire area in general, like, relies on this money. Not only just the small businesses, but in tax money too. I mean, it's just, I don't know how the alarm bells aren't going off for literally everyone. And this area, of course, you know, votes very Republican.
Here's the kicker, though. No worries, because we're making that money back in tariffs. You know, the tariffs that we don't pay, the tariffs, the billions of dollars in tariffs that some magical fairy is paying. So not only are they losing that money because we're not getting this tourism, and it's killing these industries and these small mom and pop places on the, you know, on the border, etc. But they're paying more for their goods and services and groceries on top of that, because of the tariffs that Trump is touting as a win. This is where I just want to bang my head against the wall. This tariff gaslighting is insane.
And wait until the World Cup comes to the United States.
Yes.
Here. Wait until the Olympics in 2028. Like, who goes to the World Cup? Like, I'll give you an example. My dad and my son went to some I don't even know what it was, but some sort of soccer game that was basically, I think it was like the Team World Cup, where all the different teams were playing against each other, rather than countries, and that took place last month at I think it was at the Meadowlands, and it was mostly people from South America, Central America, Europe. Those are the people from the quote unquote shithole countries that Donald Trump is rounding up and just stopping. I mean, why, if you are Brazilian or Argentinian, I mean, these are all big soccer places.
It's a world sport. Yeah.
Right. Why would you come here? I would actually tell you not to come here. Like, wait 4 years to go to the World Cup somewhere else. You don't need to come here.
No.
And you're risking like a tremendous amount to come here. And why? Yeah. For what?
For what? You could safely just watch it on your TV, honestly, or in your favorite bar or something. You know,
it's not going to run there anyway. It's going to be a total. So why bother? I mean, it's going to be a complete shit show. And I just don't understand what they're thinking when they're inviting the world here, the World Cup next year, and again the Olympics in 3 years from now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That stuff bothers me so much, by the way, that like that the world is looking at us for during these moments, and it's him at the helm. It does feel very reminiscent of a certain other fella whose speeches Donald Trump might have kept in a book by his bedside. You know what I mean? It's like the world is looking at us, and we have Donald Trump at the helm. It's just, it bothers me a lot. Like, it bothers me a lot. I love soccer. My dad got a full ride to college. Yeah, on a soccer scholarship to Fairleigh Dickinson as a Lebanese immigrant who came here.
That's amazing.
Yeah, full ride. I have a sentimental place in my heart for soccer, and like that, that Trump is tainting any of this. When he showed up at that tournament, Julie, and he got booed. Melania showed up too. It's just he puts a funk on things, on everything that, like, it bothers me as a sentimentalist that I am. It bothers me a lot. I'm sure that other people feel that way. I mean, it's like,
oh, absolutely. Well, it's my sister-in-law similarly got a full ride to play soccer at Tulane.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and for that she got a great education and then went on to law school and became a United States Marine JAG for 20 years and served her country. So, and my husband also played competitively as a young person. So, like, soccer is always on in our house. Premier League on every single weekend. My husband gets up at like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And again, like, that's the United States. Who's just, funny enough, my husband is calling me right now. No, please stop calling. Please stop calling.
Well, my husband just had. I wonder if that's.
I just saw that too. My husband had to get an emergency root canal this morning, so he was just calling me. I apologize. Yeah, no bueno. Yeah, so it is the world sport, and in the United States, it's we're still catching up here, but I think that hopefully having the World Cup here, it would have been this wonderful scenario where bring the sport to more people, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be all fun and games. And to your point, yes, I did see about that. I was trying to wait for there is no good moment to break in with that news, unfortunately.
Yeah, let me just say this. It's in Hinesville, I think Hinesville, Georgia, at Fort Stewart. There's an active shooter. The schools are on lockdown, and apparently he's still at large. So if you are anywhere in the area, please take shelter if you're listening to us. And unfortunately, this is something that we go through in this country on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So please take care if you're anywhere in the area, and we will keep an eye on this, and we'll continue to break in throughout the show as we get more information.
Yep.
So back to what we were discussing before, is that we live in a very precarious time, I think, in this country. And as much as we dwell on all the big things happening, it's the little things that I think are really chipping away things that we've all taken for granted. Like, we are a country that hosts the Olympic Games and welcome the world to come here, as we have repeatedly throughout our lifetime. As the excitement that I remember when we got the World Cup here in the New York, New Jersey metropolitan area, so excited to welcome the world here to the crossroads of the world, to New York, and also really where it's going to be played, which is going to be New Jersey.
Yeah.
The big dirty secret, if people don't realize this, is that the New York Giants and the New York Jets
play in New Jersey, blah, blah, blah.
The only real football team that New York has is Buffalo. The rest
that is true. Listen, and listen.
Yeah. So
there ain't nothing like Buffalo Bills fans. Let me tell you that.
I'll call it Giant Stadium until I die. By the way, I can't actually call it MetLife. Like, I'll call it Twitter, and I'll call it Giant Stadium forever.
I will too. I will call it the Brendan Byrne Arena.
Oh God! Oh man, that's a deep pull. Yeah,
is
there. It's still there. It's kind of crazy. It's like a ghost town, but that's where the Devils played. I think the Nets played there when they were in New Jersey. But it's still there. The building's still there, and it's like a ghost town.
That's how I feel about the Carrier Dome. If anybody is a Syracuse fan here, they like redid the Carrier Dome, which the Carrier Dome. It's now called like the JMA something or other. I was like, I will never call it that. Never, ever, ever, ever. It is the Carrier Dome until the day I die.
So, but anyway, the point is, I remember being so excited when the World Cup is coming here, and to show the world what we all know who live in this area, which is that this is the greatest place in the world.
Yep.
But it's not anymore. And that's the part that I think is devastating to me. I ride the New York City subways. I know you do, Michelle, all the time. And it used to be that it was very sad. These mothers with babies strapped to their back selling fruit. And they were people who came here. They're undocumented immigrants. and they were trying to get by. They were trying to earn a living. And the way they did that was effectively to sell fruit. Where the subway cars or sell candy bars. And it was devastating. And I always would give them cash because it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But I often wonder what happened to all of them. And because there are not as many anymore. If you go to the Times Square subway and you know, you don't know who's going to get pulled over. If you are a tourist here who happens to have the wrong skin tone, visiting the city for the World Cup, especially after ICE just got this huge injection of money to stop people at whim. And they said they're going to go into blue cities. And if Zohran Mamdani becomes mayor, which it looks like he probably will, Trump will make New York City the example place. And so
Julie, I'm sorry. I don't mean to. I've gotten several comments saying that my picture's out of focus. I think it's my connection. So if I pop out, I'll be right back. So keep going.
Sounds good. You're a little bit more in focus now, just so you know, than you were before. So that's really all I have to say. We can move on from that discussion, other than it's devastating. I think for those of us who love this country, and to see how fast in the first 6 months, 7 months of the year, since January 20th, it's gotten completely destroyed. I mean, you had the president of the United States yesterday saying that he's going to make an exception potentially for agricultural workers.
Yeah.
Because they, being the Latinos, don't get bad backs from picking crops, because if they do, they'll die. But the inner city people, which translation Black people, they're not cut out for this kind of work. So there's so much to unpack here, one of which is Black people are not cut out for agriculture work. Who the hell does he think built this country?
I mean, well, the house he lives in, by the way.
Exactly. The house he lives in, you know, slave. What does he think slaves did all day long?
I mean, that statement was like literally a 9-layer dip of almost all of his awfulness on display, save sexism, which I don't think he had a chance to insert some sexism, which inspired me to say that he's so nuts that we often forget how stupid he is. And he's so stupid that we often forget how incompetent he is. And he's so incompetent, we often forget how evil he is. And it's just like this never ending, and how racist and bigoted and just utterly batshit crazy this person is. But he is at the core of all of it. He is hateful. He is willfully ignorant, and he is hateful. And and that's why, in many cases, that's why the base will never leave him, right? That's why that we've seen polling now that even if something was revealed that conclusively said that, he was involved with child sex trafficking with Jeffrey Epstein, that the hardcore base would stay. It would be, they would be okay and move on. But that statement, Julie, was just, it was like, oh, so he's not just talking about, Black people not being able to pick crops, but he's saying that Latino people can, and that they're made for it. It's like, it's just utterly insane.
This is where, Donald Trump is, to every cell of his body, incredibly racist. He was raised in a racist household. Mary Trump says this all the time. Mary Trump, God bless, we love her. She's on our Seneca Project advisory board. We talk to her. She gives us lots of, insight into this as well. That the N-word was used all the time in that household. There's a reason why
of The Apprentice too.
Right. There's a reason why he was sued by the NAACP for not renting their properties to Black families. He has an entire life worth of racist history that we can go back to the Central Park Five. 5 young men who were innocent and falsely accused of attacking and raping a young woman in Central Park. He took out a full page ad, I think it was in the Daily News, saying that to bring back the death penalty. I mean, this is who Donald Trump is. Remember, was it last summer after Kamala Harris had entered the race? He was at that event saying that, she wasn't Black until she decided to be Black. And then, I mean, he is
Black
a racist.
Right.
Black jobs. I mean, and he
remember, Where's My Black? Remember that?
Where's my African American over there?
Where's my Black?
Right. And then you go back to, what was it, the 90s when he was, it was before Congress, talking about the reservations and the casinos, and he was mad. He doesn't look Indian to me, doesn't look Indian. Like, and he just gets away with it because all of this is baked in and people are so used to his craziness and race. Like, he's everybody's racist ass uncle who says the craziest shit and sends chain emails with nonsense. But that person became president of the United States. And, Biff from the alternate 1985 is now a, present danger in all of our lives and to everybody in the world. And, going to like the thing he did on the roof yesterday, walking around, just craziness.
He posted that today, by the way, the same things he was saying on the roof. I'm sorry, I was laughing so hard when George Conway and others were like, oh, many people are saying that Barack Obama could fly and that he was the best flying president of all time, as if to go Trump and be like, oh, really? Watch me, like whatever.
Right. Oh, right.
I do want to say this because I said this at CNN yesterday during the break, and as you can imagine, nobody there had a reaction. If this were Joe Biden, Jake Tapper would be writing 27 books by now.
Yeah.
And apologizing to his family members and like
how insane Donald Trump is. But because it's Trump, as you said, Joe, it's all baked in. So it's okay. Like, no problem because it's Donald Trump. So of course, this is like, haha, this is so funny. Look at Donald Trump, master builder, inspecting the White House roof. What is going on?
I made a little supercut of all of this, and I'm just going to play this really quick for anybody who didn't see it.
Mr. President, what are you doing up there?
Taking a little walk. Come down and talk to us.
What are you building?
Start with the ballroom, which is on the other side. Are you? Hello, Peter. You're looking good, Peter.
Are you going to build up?
Something beautiful.
What does that mean?
What do you? More ways to spend my money. It's just another way to spend my money for the country. Anything I do is financed by me, so in other words, contributed. Just like my salary is contributed, but nobody ever mentions that.
By the way, I mean, setting aside that he's fucking insane and we can go into the salary bullshit all day long because his little like self-promotion trip to Scotland just cost us what his salary would be many tens of times over. He's on
really funny.
Where he's standing, and you know where it did. I know Dinner on the Roof is very funny, but you know where he's standing. He's standing by the press briefing room. He's standing where the press was already gathered for a gaggle, and he's doing that not because he wants to talk about the ballroom, which is on the east wing side, on the other side of the White House. He's standing there for this very reason, walking there to inspect the roof for the ballroom that's on the other side of the White House. Bullshit. He's standing there because Peter Alexander and the rest of the press is like, what's he doing on the roof? Why is he dragging his leg up there? What are you doing? Bullshit. Spectacle, sideshow, look over here. I don't want to talk about Epstein. I'm on the roof to talk about the bullshit of my donated salary and the ballroom that none of us wanted that's going to cost us. No. He is not financing or contributing it. It's going to come out of our pockets. It's going to cost $200 million, and it's going to eclipse the White House by many tens of thousands of feet so that this guy who's supposed to be leaving in 3 years can add his legacy. Sure. In addition to paving over Jackie's rose garden, he can piss all over the White House and put up this massive erection that he's not capable of organically. But that whole thing was just clickbait, bullshit, sideshow, spectacle, and they all took the bait. Everybody in that gaggle took the bait.
Mm-hmm. All of them. Did you ever watch a cartoon? Did your kids ever watch a cartoon called Phineas and Ferb, Joe?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, it's a great show.
Remember the girl in Phineas and Ferb? It's like, what you doing? That's basically Mr. President, what you doing?
People were trolling them, like the Office comparison, too.
Yeah. It's like, what you doing?
What?
He's nuts.
Right.
The only question is, Mr. President, what kind of deal did you give Ghislaine Maxwell?
Yeah.
In exchange for her now saying today, apparently, that he had nothing to do. Of course, she had no record. Oh, I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Ghislaine Maxwell, who just got transferred to Club Fed.
Little Miss Perjury, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure
they're going to trust her now. They're going to trust
her.
Right. And by the way, she's a convicted child sex trafficker, child sex offender. And now all of a sudden she's going to be the gold standard for exoneration? Like, what? We knew this was happening. We all knew this was exactly what was going to happen. With the second that he moved her, the second that Blanche went down there to talk to her, and they're hemming and hawing about, will they release the audio file? She's going to exonerate him, and the cult's going to be fine with it, and that's all it's going to be. That's it.
And do you guys remember? Do you remember the freak out in July? I think it was July or June of 2016, when Bill Clinton's plane happened to be on the tarmac in Phoenix, Arizona. And next to him, by sheer coincidence, was Loretta Lynch, who was then the Attorney General, Phoenix, Arizona. And oh my God, the insanity that the Attorney General is meeting with a former president to say hello for 30 seconds while she's investigating Hillary Clinton's emails.
Yep. That
was a huge scandal. The press was all over it, like all over. They weren't like, what you doing? They were basically go ballistic. I remember being at Fox back in those days, and it was like wall-to-wall insanity. Now, tonight, the Attorney General, the White House Chief of Staff, Director of the FBI, and the fucking Vice President, sorry, Dad, of the United States are sitting down together at the Vice President's house to discuss how they're going to address the Epstein crisis that is engulfing their administration. Okay, no problem. Nothing to see here. Hey, Mr. President, what are you doing up on that roof? Oh, okay. You're going to tell us how you're donating your salary? Oh, okay. Let's transcribe all of that, Mr. President.
Yeah. And I tweeted just this morning, maybe it's me, maybe I'm old-fashioned, but if people accused me of being implicated in a horrific crime against children and I had the files to prove I wasn't involved, my strategy would be to release the files which cleared my name. But hey, what do I know? Well, why do you need a strategy when you have the truth?
This kind of sums it up. If you don't need a big meeting with so many high officials, if your plan is just to release the files, like that is not what they're doing. They're they're going to do a little tap dance.
Oh yeah.
And the one thing I said, I was on CNN yesterday, which I'll get to my overt in a second, but I said this yesterday, and I don't understand why this is not completely obvious to any MAGA Kool-Aid drinker, because they don't want it to be obvious, but it should be obvious to the rest of us. This has consumed his administration. This has taken attention away from all the other stuff that he wants to talk about. The fastest way to move on would be to release files showing that he's not in there. But he hasn't.
I mean, how's he ever going to put a nuclear plant on the moon, Julie? If he's doing this.
I'm just sorry. But that's what we voted for. They wanted a nuclear plant on the moon.
This is the same guy who wants to send a nuclear weapon into a hurricane.
Sharks with laser beams. Yes, because that's what we need. We don't need to feed starving children. We need a nuke plant on the moon.
On the moon. We're going to nuke the moon. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. It's like Death Star.
But
can't wait. We just want healthcare. We just want
healthcare.
But the point is, why are we pretending that he's not in there? Of course he's in there, because if he wasn't, he would just release the whole goddamn thing. Right. And it wouldn't be an issue. And then
especially if it implicated his enemies, like Bill Clinton or whatever,
But the reason he hasn't is because stupidly, Pam Bondi, who wins Mensa of the Year award for this, allowed 1,000 FBI agents in the Southern District of New York to have access to all of the Epstein files and to go the little Sharpie through every single one of them. Put it on a Microsoft SharePoint, and then delete every mention of Trump. Well, if you have 1,000 people who are looking for every mention of Trump, chances are one or two of them may have kept the info and might be leaking it.
Yeah,
maybe not. So they can't quite go out and say there's nothing to do with Trump here, because 1,000 people know that's bullshit.
Also, he's probably in it so much that all that would be left is maybe like, dear people, here are the files. Like that would be the only thing that's left.
because I think he's probably in it so much, and he knows it.
But speaking of nuking the moon, and this is the part that scares me, is he's going to have to change the subject eventually. And the only way to change the subject from something
Wag
so
the
horrific
dog.
is to wag the dog, to do something so awful.
Yeah.
Like start a war.
Which Putin, right? Didn't he blow up an apartment building in Russia or something to try? Yeah.
We have nuclear parked in the region. Yeah.
And well, look at what Netanyahu's doing right now. I mean, we only have to look at what's happening in Israel. So it's going to have to be something so horrific that it is going to allow him to A, remain in power, and B, to change the subject.
Yeah.
And
I think
that's what's so scary to me, because we could laugh about the moon and nuking. But
I think in the interim, what he's going to do to change the subject is the shoe that's going to drop with the Ghislaine, whether or not it's the recordings or the transcripts. I don't think she's just going to say, I didn't see Trump. Trump was never involved. I think she is going to dangle, this notorious liar is going to dangle some red meat about one of Trump's enemies, probably Bill Clinton. If it is Bill Clinton, so be it. But that will be, for now, the subject change. It'll be, oh my God, scandal, breaking news, notorious sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell names Bill Clinton, other prominent Democrats that were there, et cetera, for the interim, until he decides on whatever he's going to do in terms of this other, scandal, whether it's a world war or God knows what, or arresting Obama or Hillary. This is going to be, I think what they're strategizing about is how to unveil some of her more salacious lies in exchange for or whatever.
Well, and she's such a desperate person. I mean, we already know this about her. That's how she got in with him in the first place. Right. She came from an incredibly wealthy family in England whose father was doing all kinds of stuff with governments and doing, I mean, who knows? But when he died suddenly, and jury's out on how that all happened, officially or unofficially, we find out that he was stealing the pension funds from his employees. So she and her family were left with nothing. And so she was living the high life her whole life, and she didn't want to not live the high life. And so what did she do? She attached herself to Jeffrey Epstein, who acquired billions of dollars. We don't really know how. That seems to be a mystery too. And in exchange, she went out into the world and hunted down little girls, children, hunted them down and brought 2 to 3 little girls to him every single day so that he could sexually assault and rape them with her help. That is, at the end of the day, the truth here.
And let's just give an example of what she did. There's a testimony in her trial. I actually read through some of this testimony, and that's the thing that actually pisses me off about this whole situation, is that nobody's really talking about the survivors here.
Yeah.
Both sides.
They're not taking a seat at that table tonight at that meeting either.
Yep, exactly right. But here's what one of these survivors said. She was a little girl at a performing arts camp called Interlaken in Michigan, which Michelle, you probably know. It's a very well-known camp for performing arts kids. And one day, Ghislaine Maxwell showed up with Jeffrey Epstein, and she had a little Yorkie in tow. And of course, the little kids all saw the Yorkie and were like, especially the little girls were like, oh my God, oh, how cute. It's a great conversation opener, right? That's why every single guy I know always gets a dog, because they know it's kind of a conversation thing, right? So the girls all go up to the Yorkie. Oh, this is great. And they start talking to this girl, and she was a girl. I think she was 14 or 15 at the time, about how this girl wanted to be a model, or she wanted to be an actress. And they start dropping names of famous people they know, including Lex Wexner. Oh, and Jeffrey Epstein goes, oh, I'm friends with the head of Victoria's Secret. And of course, like, you're so pretty, you could probably walk in that fashion show. And of course, because Ghislaine Maxwell was there with her little sweet dog and her little posh British accent, he's if a random middle-aged man shows up in his own, girls are smart enough not to talk to him.
It's the woman.
It's the woman. It's the woman with the dog who's the protector. If she's protecting the dog and the sweet little cute dog, she's going to protect you. Nothing's going to happen to you the same way nothing's going to happen to this dog, right? Whenever we have kids, we tell our kids, if something happens to you, look for a woman, look for the mom, because she's going to be protected.
Yes, always. look for the moms. They'll be the helpers.
They'll be the helpers. And
Mhm.
they didn't know she wasn't a mom, but she was a mom to this little Yorkie, right?
Yeah.
This little Yorkie who, of course, oh, can I see your dog? Can I, of course, it's like the same thing. I have kids, and whenever I walk my dog on the street all the time, I have little kids coming up. Oh, can I pet your dog?
Oh yeah.
It's of course, it's what kids do. And so that's what's so awful about her is she knew it. She was the bait.
She weaponized the trust.
Drug dealer. She's the one. It's like going up to a little kid and saying, "Hey, do you want to try this candy?"
Right. Want to get in the back of my van?
Get in the back of my van to try this candy. That's what she was doing because they trusted her. Because these girls were not stupid. They would never have trusted some random middle-aged guy showing up at kids' camp.
No.
But they probably looked like they were parents visiting kids.
Or, I mean, were they beneficiaries or anything like that? I mean, because that's the other part of this. I can't remember if I read this or if I'm just imagining this, but like, they love to give money to places and then, lean on the weight of that because, I went to a private school conservatory, right? And so if there was anybody whose name was on the door anywhere and they came to visit, like you were to be nice to them or like say hello to them and they were going to sit in on classes or rehearsals or anything like that. And, especially if you're a kid, I mean, yeah. That's
where does Epstein's money come from?
That's the thing. So we had Vicky Ward on our show, The Stakes, last week, and we talked about this because, there's nobody that's working in finance that is like making that kind of money where you're able to go from a 1-bedroom apartment on the Upper East Side to taking over the Iranian consulate as your home. Like seriously, I worked at a hedge fund for 2 years in between trying to figure out, my acting career and trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. I went and worked at a hedge fund. I've lived many lives. And I think this was like a $12 billion AUM hedge fund. A lot of rich people worked here, right? Like very, very, very wealthy people who had big giant houses on the Hudson River. They weren't living like this. And so there is something else going on here. And whether he was funneling money for people, and also his name does not appear in the markets at all.
So
he trading nothing. Nothing. He was outsourcing all of it.
He was a math teacher at Dalton.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's be very clear. He's a math teacher at an elite private school. The headmaster of which was William Barr's father.
Wild.
A longtime headmaster of which, right? He was the headmaster of Dalton. And I can tell you, as somebody who knows the New York City private school scene pretty well, that I guarantee you that there are girls who are now women who had Mr. Epstein for math, by the way, who did not graduate college. I will tell you right now, I don't understand how the school hired somebody who did not graduate college because take it from me, you need practically a PhD to teach high school at these schools.
I interviewed for a nanny job with a wealthy family in New York City like years ago. They wanted to see my SAT scores and my college
that's the point,
transcripts.
Right?
You know what I mean? Like it's you have to be.
And so there's nothing wrong with being a college dropout, but there is something very suspicious about being hired at an elite private school to teach when you don't have a college degree. You don't have a graduate degree, you probably can't. It's just not done. So I want to know why Bill Barr's father hired him. I want to know exactly how many NDAs were used at Dalton to settle whatever complaints there were from young girls about Mr. Epstein, the math teacher, because there were. And I guarantee you there were NDAs. And my friends who are in New York right now, if you still live here, that NDA does not cover you anymore. Just so you know. So feel free to talk. Give me a call. I'll walk you through it.
I wonder what year was he there?
It was in the 80s and I think 90s. 80s. It was in the 80s.
I have a friend who was there in the 80s. I'm going to ask her.
Who was there? I should ask him. But I mean, I don't know if they overlapped. But the point is, so much of this doesn't make sense. But who knows where it came from? The Internal Revenue Service.
Yeah. Well, and potentially Congress, because I forget if it was Blumenthal, someone has asked for, there's thousands of wire transfers.
Just for one of his bank accounts.
Yeah.
Like that adds up to $1 billion, over 4,000 transactions in and out. And there's probably thousands more in other bank accounts that they know of. And so
from no one.
yeah.
Like right? So but again, we're protecting billionaires.
Yeah. And this is who Oversight is going to bring in. I don't know if you guys saw this. The following individuals to appear for depositions through issued subpoenas: Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Merrick Garland, James Comey, Bill Barr, Alberto Gonzalez, Jeff Sessions, Robert Mueller, Loretta Lynch, and Eric Holder. And apparently this has to do with this, but it's like, I mean, the whole thing is a shit show.
And the whole thing's a shit show. You know who's not there? No Acosta.
Yeah.
No Acosta, Alex Acosta, who gave him the and then suddenly became the Secretary of Labor for Donald Trump.
Tara said Merkley. Thank you, Tara. Senator Merkley. Sorry.
No.
Merkley wasn't asking for the file for their transfers. Yeah, sorry.
No Alan Dershowitz.
Right.
Right.
Captain Underpants.
I was going to say, who leaves his underwear on?
But he cannot go to the library on Martha's Vineyard.
He can't get a pierogi, guys. He can't get a pierogi. He's suing the pierogi guy for not selling it.
He is?
Yes.
You don't know about this?
You can refuse to make a cake for a gay couple, but you cannot refuse to sell a pierogi to Captain Underpants.
Oh, is on Martha's Vineyard?
Yes.
The farmer's market at Martha's Vineyard.
Oh my God, these rich people.
The pierogi guy says to him, I'm not going to sell, I know who you are. I'm not going to sell my pierogies to you. He goes ballistic. He pulls over some rent-a-cop. I take that back. I don't know if it was a rent-a-cop. I apologize to the fine men and women of the Martha's Vineyard Police Department or the Chilmark Police Department. But he pulls over a cop and he's like, I'm going to make a scene about this. Cop's like, please don't, sir. Because this person is not entitled to sell, you're not entitled to get a pierogi. He proceeds to make a scene and he's threatening to sue the Martha's Vineyard. The pierogi guy, I believe the farmer's market, potentially also everybody who's not inviting him to their barbecues anymore. Because he has lived on Martha's Vineyard for 40 summers and he's never been treated this way, Larry.
I'm going to go back to the second grade.
Yeah.
And I'm going to sue Vanessa Baker for not inviting me to her birthday party.
Yes, life, liberty, and the pursuit of pierogi. That's according to Dershowitz. By the way, just as a commentary of the moment we're in, the breaking news everywhere was broken by I think it was the New York Post this morning. Right? Yeah, it was the New York Post. This is everywhere now. That the testimony that she gave to Blanche. That reportedly she'd never witnessed Donald Trump engage in any concerning behavior in her presence. This is the story. This is the story. And they're denying that there was ever a strategy meeting, but this is the story.
Got it.
Instead of showing us the proof, this is what they're going to go with. They're going to go with the perjurer, child predator, and her memory of Donald Trump never doing anything. I'm surprised she doesn't have a memory of watching him save puppies from a burning building. But yeah, this is the new narrative for the moment, and to distract us from the fact that they are still not revealing what is in the files. The actual.
Anybody want to go to Martha's Vineyard and go to the pierogi place and throw them some business?
Yeah, I love pierogies.
I've never been.
You've never been to the vineyard? Oh, it's very
only Nantucket.
And I've never been to Nantucket, but I've been to Martha's Vineyard many times. It is magical. Truly.
I have been to both, and they're both very different, and they're both very magical. Nantucket's a little bit more snotty than Martha's Vineyard, but the vineyard's great. We should go up there. We should go to the pierogi guy. We should give him a hug, and we should eat some pierogies in front of Alan Dershowitz. So we talked briefly about Republican hypocrisy, which is my new thing. So I was on, this is my over it. I was on CNN last night with Scott Jennings, who I got to be honest.
God bless.
Did you see he posted a picture of you guys, by the way?
Oh yeah. With him going like this. Yeah. He also called me a liar on air again.
I did hear that. I did hear that in the background. I was in the other room and I was like, he did not just do that again, but it's like now his thing with you.
Yeah, because when you don't have anything to say, you just say you're a liar, right? Like liar, pants on fire. Okay, Scott. Well, it is true that Congress did leave town early, so not to vote on Epstein, but okay. So what he was going off on is the fact that Democrats just get back to work in Texas and they're absconding, and the people of Texas have elected them to represent them. And why are they in Illinois and not voting on this bullshit map? Which, by the way, A for effort, Texan Democrats, but the reality is it's going to happen. So we should just understand that eventually these people will come back. Eventually there'll be a quorum, and eventually.
Well,
so
I'm glad they're fighting, though.
Me too.
I'm glad.
100%. like the sidebar on that. But
But so maybe you should play the clip, because when I heard that he was talking about people coming back to work and doing what they were elected to do, here's what I said.
Anyone?
Whoops.
That's not it.
That is not it, because I did not remove the last thing from the stage. Let me do this.
Anyone?
He's trying to out Paxton.
Well,
he's trying to out Paxton, right?
They should go to work. Should they not? I mean, they got elected to represent people in Texas, not
so
people in Illinois.
should Congress. Why did they abandon the House to not vote on these Epstein files?
It's the August recess. And if you're comparing these two,
once again,
you're showing just how dishonest you're willing to be. The reality is they got elected to go to work in the Texas state.
So it was not the August recess, speaking of liars. It was July 24th, which is decidedly not August. And it was not the August recess. And they left early so they didn't have to vote on the Epstein files. And the reason I bring this up is not so much to beat up on Scott Jennings, although
I mean,
as long as we're here, we might as well.
When in Rome, Julie.
Yeah, exactly. But it's to basically say that the fucking hypocrisy and contortions that these people go through, and the fact that they think they're going to consistently be in power for the rest of their lives, and that they can behave this way and have these double standards, because when the Democrats come back into power, they're not going to play hardball like this. And they're right, the Democrats have not before, but as God is my witness, to be Scarlett O'Hara, as God is my witness, if the Democrats, when they are back in power, and eventually they will be, if we still have a democracy left, do not do everything in spades of what is being done right now, I'm not voting for that Democrat. I don't want to hear one more fucking word. Sorry, Mr. President. Sorry, Joe Biden. I love you. I don't want to hear that anymore about how the former guy, we need to move on. There's no coming back from this.
Yeah, the former guy was a huge mistake. And
if Donald Trump's whole thing about Texas is that he got the most number of votes in history in Texas, and that's why we have to reopen redistricting. Okay, you know who got the most votes in the history of California? Joe Biden. You know who got the most votes in the history of New York State? Joe Biden. You know who got the most votes in the history of New Jersey? Joe Biden. Illinois? Joe Biden. You want to go? You want to go? Okay.
I hope and pray that the Democrats, that's why I think, to Michelle's point, I am glad that the Texas Democrats are doing this. I'm glad that they have the support, whether or not they're doing it because they're positioning themselves to run for president, of governors like Pritzker and Newsom and even Hochul. Yeah, I'm glad that Hakeem Jeffries has something else to do besides posing fecklessly with a baseball bat in supporting what the Texas Democrats are doing. And I hope, Julie, that this is the beginning of the Democratic Party being like, okay, there's a new game. There are new rules.
Right. And Kathy Hochul said, was it yesterday or the day before? I don't remember. She said, this is war.
Yeah.
And I've been saying this. I'm like, we are at war, guys. We are at war. We are at war within our country, unfortunately. And there is no going back to the old rules ever. And we put together a very quick little, I say we, Mallory did this, God bless, yesterday, just a super cut of what Donald Trump has said and how the governors have responded. I'm just going to play this.
War. And I won Texas, and we are entitled to 5 more seats.
These folks don't play by the rules.
Trump has asked Texas Republicans to redraw the Texas maps to get him 5 more seats.
He recognizes he's going to lose in the midterms.
When you try to tear health care away from veterans and seniors and people with disabilities, and stop food assistance for the most vulnerable working families in America, and raise prices on everyday groceries, all to fund tax breaks for the wealthiest people in this country, then voters are likely going to throw your party out.
If they can't win playing the game with the existing set of rules, they'll change the rules.
They're doing it in the middle of the decade.
The tool they're using is a racist, gerrymandered map to divide hard-working communities, and Governor Abbott is doing this in submission to Donald Trump.
He's dialing for seats. Familiar because he dialed for votes. Who tried to break this country, tried to light democracy on fire on January 6th.
It's cheating, plain and simple. And if they're going to cheat, we're not going to play.
They'd rather silence voters than serve them. What Texas and Republican states are doing at the direction of Donald Trump is nothing short of a legal insurrection against our Capitol. If Republicans are willing to rewrite these rules to give themselves an advantage, then they're leaving us no choice. We must do the same. I'm exploring with our leaders every option to redraw our state congressional lines as soon as possible.
California will not sit by idly and watch this democracy waste away.
You won't fight for democracy? You're doomed to lose it.
We'll fight fire with fire, we'll assert ourselves, and we'll punch above our weight, and it will have profound impacts on the national outcome, not just here in the state of California. That's what's at stake.
The gloves are off. And I say, bring it on.
That's great. That's fantastic. And here's why I think no matter the outcome of what happens right now, what this is giving us is a moment to do just what you guys at Seneca just did, which is to give the Democrats a chance to show that they are not toothless, but also to highlight all of the reasons that the Republicans need to cheat. And that speaks to what the Republicans are trying to do and doing to the American people. So no matter what the outcome, they're buying us time and eyeballs on the truth and on the fight. So I give all of them props. And that was a fucking great video, by the way. Mallory.
Yeah, Mallory. She was like, I'm going to do, and I was like, good job, girl. I like
Amazing.
it. Yeah.
I'm going to share that. I never saw that. So
well, you know, and the thing is too, it's Donald Trump is a cheater. He cheats on everything. He cheats on his wives. He cheats at golf. He's cheated on his taxes. He has cheated the hardworking people who have helped him build his empire. I'm talking about small business owners in New York and New Jersey, who've had to go out of business and declare bankruptcy because he's stripped them of everything and doesn't pay his bills. And so, you know, if his base or the people, maybe the independents or just, you know, moderate Republicans who, you know, casually just vote for him because they don't like the other guy, you know, if you're wondering who's going to be the next person who's cheated, you can take a look in the mirror because it's going to be you. And it's going to be with your Social Security, your Medicare, your Medicaid, your everything, all of those safety nets that we've had in place for the last 80 years, including our national security, are going to be gone.
And our public health.
And our public health. I mean, oh my God, Robert F. Kennedy, Mr. Quack Brainworm is like, oh, we're not going to do any mRNA vaccine research anymore. I've decided that it doesn't work.
This is a person who, by the way, testified in front of Congress that no one should be taking medical advice from him. This is the same person. I call him the bear dumping, whale decapitating, dead brainworm guy who said that heroin made him a better college student. And he single-handedly, again, Mehdi Hassan posted about this today, coupled with Gaza, coupled with USAID, coupled with the cuts to Medicaid and SNAP, this administration is killing millions and millions. He already has millions of deaths on his hands because of the way that he dithered and diddled and downplayed COVID, but because he doesn't care, he's a sociopath. But all of these actions, these are going to be directly causational of death, like literal
polio. Measles. Right. I mean, we're having a measles epidemic in this country now. We're having one of the largest outbreak of measles in decades. We had eradicated this virus, and now it is back because you've got all these crunchy whack jobs who, you know, and we should do a show at some point about the wellness pipeline to MAGA, because let me tell you what, the crunchy ass pipeline of, oh, essential oils, oh, I'm not going to take antibiotics, to I'm not going to vaccinate my kids, and let's have measles parties, and let's get COVID, or I'm not going to wear a mask because I have immunity. You know, what is wrong with people? You know why? Like, after a certain year, what was it, 1956 or whatever, when the polio vaccine came out, you walk around these cemeteries and you see a lot of little kids who died very, very young. And after a certain year, you don't see them anymore. Why? Because we had a polio vaccine that saved lives of children. And now we're going to go back to a time where this is going to start happening again. And this is where I'm like, Mitch McConnell had polio. He had polio.
but it's part and parcel of everything about how they want to drag us backwards in time, right? They want to drag us backwards in time in terms of
it's like let's die
rights.
like penniless peasants, like
civil rights,
1850.
Yeah, civil rights, voting rights, women's rights, public health, etc. This whole trad wife thing, where they literally want us to be, barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen,
drinking raw milk.
Right. Well, raw milk. By the way, there was a sickness, I think, something that bacteria or whatever in maybe Florida. But this kind of feeds into my over it because there's also this pull backwards where they're gaslighting the public into thinking that the progressives and people on the left don't like sexy and or attractive and or blonde and or blue-eyed and or big boobied women by saying that we don't want any of the traditional aesthetics, blah, 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 because of the Sydney Sweeney gaslight, right? And that they are the party.
Passed down. Jeans are passed down.
Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again.
Do it, Michelle. You do the best Sydney Sweeney. Do it.
Sorry. Jeans are passed down from pants to asping.
So funny. I'm gonna make that my ringtone. It's so funny. But my God, my favorite bored troll YouTube yapper, Megyn Kelly. This has become her favorite latest chum is like she loves to just like chum the waters with this like manufactured outrage, and she cannot let the Sydney Sweeney thing go. And she went after Beyonce because Beyonce now has a Levi's ad out. Beyonce, there you go.
This gorgeous queen of a woman.
Right. This is a Levi's ad. And oh boy, was Megyn offended. She was already offended, or at least she was pretending to be.
Everything, well, mostly liberal things offend her, but mostly liberal things if they have to do with Black women or Black people or everything offends this biatch.
Well, the original sin for why she got fired from her job, I believe it was at NBC, correct, was that she made the comments about blackface. So this is what she posted in response to that. This is the opposite of the Sydney Sweeney ad. Quite clearly, there is nothing natural about Beyonce. Everything from her image to her fame to her success to her look below is bought and paid for, screams artificial, fake enhanced, trying too hard. Hey, Megyn, where'd your nose come from, by the way?
Well,
just on the side. Because that ain't the nose
I'd wondered, and I've had thoughts. I'm just going to say.
Yeah.
But I mean, like...
yeah. She's also a jealous, salty bitch just at the bottom of this. And I'm over this manufactured bullshit. But part of what I find interesting about Megyn Kelly, and like I find this interesting in the way that a car crash is interesting about Nancy Mace, is that what these two people, and thank you, Sarah Longwell, for calling her out. And it's true. This part. Watching the people who Trump bullied, she's bleeding out of her wherever, becoming insane bullies themselves has been an underexplored dynamic of the Trump era. And that is true. And that's what I want to say about Megyn Kelly and Nancy Mace is that I think at the core of all of this, that because they know once upon a time, they were integrity adjacent, sprinkled with some kind of moral code, some kind of respectability infused, that they've abandoned all of that. So women that Donald Trump has gone after in horrible ways, Mace and Megyn Kelly, and that they now carry his water, that they now go to bat for him, unabashedly defend and support him. Women who are not stupid, women who have been trailblazers in many ways in different parts of what they do, that they have sacrificed all of that to just be another chick who fights the fight for a serial sexual predator. And so I think one of the things that happens, and I think eventually it consumes them whole. I don't think it's an act. I don't think they're trying. I don't think there's an intention behind it anymore. I think this is who they are, is they become the bullies themselves because they've abandoned the core of who they were. And to fill that void, they become this. And that is what Megyn Kelly has become. That is what Nancy Mace has become. And it is very sad in many ways, but it's also very common in the world of MAGA. And this is something I am over. And she had a protracted Twitter fight with Jon Favreau yesterday, and my thoughts on that were, can't they just both lose? But I digress. Because she is a bitter empty, hollow, broken, sad troll. And she sold her soul for what? For what? That's what I want to know.
You notice I'm not saying much about this. And the reason I'm not saying much about this, well, one is I know Megyn Kelly and worked with her. But the real reason I'm not saying much about this is because I understand the game here, which is that she wants us to talk about this because that's what gets her engagement, and it's what gets her clicks, and it's what gets her attention, and it's what gets her in the New York Post, which she's in every single day, which drives people to her radio show or podcast, whatever she has now. And she once told me, all publicity is good publicity. It doesn't matter.
Just like Trump.
So the reason I'm not engaging is because I don't want to enable people like that who just say the most incendiary shit in order to get clicks and in order to get engagement. And the problem here is that, of course, the Beyonce thing is even more interesting because Beyonce is Black. So, of course, that gets a certain type of person to get even more enraged that Beyonce, how dare somebody who's Black be in this jeans ad that is similar to beautiful blonde Sydney Sweeney. All of it is so cynical to me that it's not even worth giving these people oxygen because that's what they want to have happen. And same with Nancy Mace. I mean, Nancy Mace went from being a moderate Republican to suddenly being the biggest troll in the House because she saw what worked for Lauren Boebert and she saw what worked for Marjorie Taylor Greene. She doesn't believe this shit.
Well, that's the thing about her, though, that's so transparent is like Lauren Boebert. I'm kind of like, okay, you're crazy. You believe this shit, though, and you're kind of a dummy. But like Nancy Mace, it's so performative. It's so over the top that I'm like, you look stupid. You sound dumb.
I genuinely believe, though, in her case, I actually believe that something's next. I really do.
I think there's
Nancy Mace.
Well, both.
But yeah, both. But I really think in Mace's case, and I had this conversation with Ruben Gallego was on my podcast last week, where he said, no, she's just doing what you said, Julie. She's fine. She's not broken. This is what she's just playing the game because she thinks this is how you get the clicks and all the things. But as a fellow survivor, and I believe her story as a survivor, I'm not going to say I don't. Like she said, she doesn't believe E. Jean Carroll, by the way. I think it's got to break your brain a little bit to endorse, support, and lobby for a sexual predator like Donald Trump. And I also think that, I don't know, some people are talking about some things maybe with Kevin McCarthy, and right around that time, she started wearing T-shirts with scarlet A's on them. And I do think that it's a combination of what you're saying, Julie, but I also think there's something in a chick who's standing in a gas station in pajamas. You know what I mean? I don't know if she's all there all the time.
Well, look, she went out and talked about how she was, her ex-fiance, I don't know, abused her with a bunch of other guys. Like
that was crazy too. Yeah.
It's crazy, but it's also, and she did it on the floor because she knew that she would not be able to be prosecuted for defamation because she has the exception because she's a member of Congress, which is also very cynical. And to me, look, all of us who've been through something are carrying around a lot of anger, right? I wish you could be, excuse me, a good person and not have that little piece of anger. But, I think if you're a woman of a certain age, you're a little angry about shit, whatever it is. And people like that channel their anger and let their anger subsume them so much because they are cynically using it for their own, because they feel like they're entitled. Like they feel like something bad happened to them. And God damn it, they're going to make something bad happen to the world for doing it to them. And I think that applies to the two women that you talked about, Joe. I think that there's one of two ways you could go. You could take something bad that happened to you and try to make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else. Or you could just use it as a leverage to get vengeance, Uma Thurman and Kill Bill and just go ballistic and go after everybody because you're so fucking pissed off. And Nancy Mace, look, I did a press conference with Nancy Mace a couple of years ago when we introduced one of our pieces of legislation on the Hill. She sponsored it. She's no longer sponsoring it. But she showed up and within 2 seconds was dropping the F-bomb about it was dropping the F-bomb in completely gratuitous kind of ways to get noticed. Like it was a pick me situation. And, from my perspective, it was like, you just want attention. Like you're standing there with Dick Durbin and Lindsey Graham and Kirsten Gillibrand and me and Gretchen Carlson, and you're just being like, fuck this fucking guy. And I just fucking, and you're like, what? Like, we're here to do a press conference about age discrimination. It was like this is a Wendy's. And everybody's looking at her. The Republicans too are looking at her like,
yeah, you can't sit with us.
Yeah. To me, it was so telling, because it was like, I'm going to show up late, but damn it, I'm going to have people pay attention to me. So I'm going to do what my 13-year-old does, which is I'm going to drop a couple of extra expletives there to make people be like, what is this about? Like, why is this chick talking this way? But I'll pay attention to her, right? Pulling the ponytail in the back of the classroom. That's all this is. And that's why, to me, like, the less oxygen you give them, God bless Sarah Longwell, I think she's fantastic. I wouldn't have even retweeted that. I would have let it go, because that's what they want. They want you to use them.
Yeah, but the Longwells and the Favreaus, we all know that the commodity, the currency out there right now is attention, eyeballs, right? Like on social media. So they're all playing the same game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The Favreau wanted it, Longwell wanted it. Oh, 100%. So, and they want, but I will say, while I agree 100% that like they want the attention and that's what the goal is. And sometimes you do have to deprive them of that oxygen, of that supply. So, you know what? Every now and then, though, I need to punch a bitch in the nose. I just do. I just need to pop a bitch in the nose. And my Substack this week is about that, about the Democrats popping people in the nose. Because when I was in 5th grade, I had to change schools. True story. Kyle, I know you're out there. Kyle, I got brand new Soda Pop sneakers. My mom took me. My mom got to see us once a month, and she took us shopping once a month. That was her parenting. And she bought me brand new white high top Soda Pop sneakers, and I wore them with a purple and black checkered dress that had a belt. And I was waiting to get on the bus, my first day in a new school, and Kyle, with his little checkered Vans, just smudged my sneakers with this big black smudge. And I looked at him and I said, don't do that. And I punched him in the nose in front of the principal. Mr. Jones, rest in peace, by the way. I just needed to pop him in the nose. And he needed to know that. You don't do that to my sneakers. But that's why I don't want violence. I'm not saying I want to, actually hurt Megyn Kelly and her modified nose. But I needed to pop her in a little bit because it makes me feel better. So that's why I said that.
Her modified nose.
No,
you know what's funny? I got a message. I don't know if you
knows.
The thing is, like, I never was like, oh, I love Megyn Kelly. Like, I just want to be very clear about that. But of all the people that was at Fox, and like most of the time I did not agree with her, but sometimes I did. And I was always kind of like, all right, this bitch got energy, like I respected the game back in the day when she was on Fox. But again, there's something that snapped in her. And I actually think she believes a lot of the shit that she says now. I remember she was on Twitter complaining about that toy store, Julie, that's on like 85th in Amsterdam because they had a Ruth Bader Ginsburg book in the window or something. And I'm just like, girl, just like calm down, like take a pill. Like, it's fine. It's all going to be fine. And I just, I don't know if you guys know this too, because we share an alma mater, and very unfortunately, she went to Syracuse, and I got a lovely message from some random guy. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, but on LinkedIn, and he was like, hey, I caught your show over at something. I love you guys. I just want to say thank you as a fellow Syracuse alum for being a cool person, because Megyn Kelly, is kind of ruined it for the rest of us. I was like, okay, there's a lot of people who went to our school, but I agree. She sucks. And it's very unfortunate that we share that. But yeah, and the thing is too, is like, I want to just compare that, and this brings me to my over it. Compare that the Sydney Sweeney thing with another thing that the MAGAs are now upset about. So the difference, yes, West Side Kids, Stephen in NYC, that is correct. That's the toy store. They have great game selection.
84th in Amsterdam.
Right, just right across the street from Fred's, which we also love. So, the thing about the Sydney Sweeney ad is that there is a lot of coded dog whistling all up in that. Like, and I didn't know this, Julie, I think you pointed it out, that the guy, or maybe it was Tara, that the guy who owns American Eagle is like a super MAGA right-wing guy.
Oh, I didn't know that,
yeah, maybe it was Tara that said it to me. And, they've doubled down on it, that like, I don't think that any of this was an accident. And Sydney Sweeney is also a darling of the right-wing alt-right incel crowd. They love her. She comes from, by the way, a very religious family. She has not said anything about this. So I think that it was very deliberate in this culture, that this trad wifey, white, blonde, white is right kind of culture that they're trying to build in this country as they snatch brown people up off the street and put them in camps. So I say all that to say, there was a production of Jesus Christ Superstar this past week at the Hollywood Bowl. And Cynthia Erivo, if you don't know her, she is a unicorn of magnificent amazingness. She is a British Black woman who is also gay, and she is amazing and has one of the most incredible voices ever. And she was playing Jesus. Adam Lambert, who's also a gay man and very eccentric and amazing, was playing Judas. Philippa Sue, who was the original cast of Hamilton, was playing Mary Magdalene. Now, these, I feel bad that I didn't even know that this was happening. George Hahn talked about this on his Instagram the other day. He's like, it's all over my feed. Like, I'm so behind. And I'm also behind because I didn't know that it was happening. And I've caught all the clips since. And let me tell you, MAGA is losing their mind that there is a black woman playing Jesus in a theatrical production of Jesus Christ Superstar. Again, it's an artistic choice. It's an incredible show. And I'm not even like a huge Andrew Lloyd Webber fan for all the reasons, because a lot of the shows are just not very good. But Jesus Christ Superstar is up there. I think it's a lot of fun. But they're all losing their minds. Like, this is blasphemy. How dare they? The liberals, Jesus wasn't black, which,
well, you know what? I'm sorry. Unless you are a Middle Eastern Jew, I guess you can't be playing Jesus anywhere, including the guy who played Jesus Christ Superstar in the movie, who, as I recall, was he blonde?
I think so.
And kind of Aryan?
They haven't been this upset since we had a black animated fish.
I've been to the Galilee, my friends. Not blonde, Eastern European looking, Slavic looking, Germanic looking people.
It's just like, again, they find the one thing and they get very, 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 very upset about it. And I find that the interpretations of these kinds of castings to be incredibly powerful, because when you hear the words that are written about this and the story, which, again, like the Bible, in my opinion, is like a book of fairy tales that have a lot of lessons, some good, some whatever, that if said, if the words are coming out of the mouth of someone that you would not expect them to, maybe you lean in a little bit more, you listen a little bit closer, maybe you take something else from it. And I just want to show a clip of Cynthia Erivo, someone took from the audience, of her singing this song towards the end of the show, that I just find incredibly powerful. And I just want everyone else to enjoy it as much as I did, because I think I've watched this 52 times in the last day.
Imagine being mad about that. Like, I'm just like,
I mean, that was incredible and absolutely just like defies like even logic. But the thing that kept coming to my mind was they're so upset about what talented, amazing artist plays Jesus while abandoning the teachings of Jesus at the same time.
There you go.
Very good. Exactly right. I mean, you only need to listen to the Sermon on the Mount. And I say this as somebody who's not Christian, but certainly has read the New Testament many times. Listen to the Sermon on the Mount and then tell me what MAGA does to uphold those teachings. That's all. I mean, that's really, if you think about what it comes down to, it comes down specifically which part of his teachings that particular sermon, I think, is probably considered to be the most powerful. And nothing about the least among, I mean, nothing, everything they're doing, the deportations, this child separations, the complete and utter, not just not welcoming the stranger, but kicking the stranger to the curb, arresting people for who they are when they're fleeing persecution, right? Like, what did Jesus run from? His family, the Holy Family. Why were they in Egypt?
Right.
But because they can't grapple with that, they attack a performer in a performance, sing a song, because it offends them on a level that they are not willing to explore. And really, really sad.
But yet it's okay for Andy Gibb, an Australian, to play Joseph and Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, or Donny Osmond, a Mormon.
Donny Osmond.
Oh my God.
A Mormon from Utah, right? But I mean, think about that. It's okay for those white guys to play Joseph and, a Canaanite Jew.
Right.
That's okay. A Mormon. Canaanite Jew. I'm not, hey, somebody Jewish. I'm not saying it's cultural appropriation. God bless. Donny Osmond was great in that show.
What in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat?
Can we actually? I know we have to wrap. Can we close with a really strange story about Donny Osmond in that performance?
Always.
It's so okay. So, and this is complete. And it's not really non sequitur, but it's like at least ending on sort of a happy note, which is a crazy thing to say because we're talking about something. By the way, props to that performance. It's just absolutely incredible. And I thought
amazing.
To just what?
It's outrageous. The whole thing is outrageous.
And our friend Victor Shee was there, and he said it was incredible. But here's my real quick Donny Osmond and Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat story. So I was working as a waitress and not in a cocktail bar, but I was working as a waitress in a Bennigan's in Boston, and it was in the theater district, and right around the corner was where Donny Osmond was performing Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat, and I was hungover as all hell. I mean, like we were out late, and I was on a double, and it was summer, and it had rained like all morning or all day, and with this they cut. In the restaurant business, you have a certain number of servers on, and then when it gets slow, you send a bunch home, and then if people are working doubles, you usually hold them over and they work into the early part of the dinner shift. So I'm hungover as hell. I'm barely getting through the day, and we're cut down to a skeleton crew, and it's dead. And all of a sudden it gets nice out. And then the hostess is like taking tables, and one after another. It's me and one other server in the entire restaurant. So I have the smoking section and the outside. And so in comes this, I don't even know, gang. There's like 13 of them or more people, and I'm like, oh my God, that's a lot of people. And then they're like, Donny Osmond is here. He wants to sit outside. He's with the cast of Joseph and Technicolor Dreamcoat. They want to sit outside. I'm like, outside. I'm not even set up outside. Meanwhile, we at the time, thanks to some crazy person in Texas, have something called time crunch lunch. Okay, if you remember Bennigan's, guys, Bennigan's free.
Fun.
What's that?
When you're hungry for fun, of course, wasn't it?
they put stopwatches on the tables, and they inform people that if they hit the stopwatch as soon as they ordered, that their food had to be on their table or their meal was free by the time the stop. I am not kidding. So try and imagine now me hungover, dying with a skeleton crew in the kitchen, no support staff. The manager, I don't even know, is probably banging on the hostess in the
This
office.
is like the Waiting, the movie is so good.
So the way that it worked, oh God, you would they would hit the thing, and then the kitchen would get the ticket, and there was this TV screen, and all the tables would show up on the screen in colors, and it was like green was like they had 15 minutes, and orange was they had like 10 minutes, and red is like get the food. Donny Osmond is one of my 400 tables, and he's 13 people outside, all of which are drinking iced tea refills. Thank you very much.
No.
And they hit the button. So now I'm like, and the screen is red. The cooks are walking off the line. They're like outside smoking cigarettes. My entire section is, where's our food? I'm like, oh God, yeah. We had to buy Donny Osmond's entire 13 top lunch. And I was mortified. And I'm sorry, Jesus and your Technicolor dream coat, but I was not prepared for you that day.
Did they at least leave you a tip?
I think he left me a huge tip.
Yeah, like he would.
Yeah. I'm having Bennigan's pick up his lunch because you didn't get it in time.
Yeah.
Wait, you buried the lead, which is that Donny Osmond did not whip out his credit card and say, "Never mind, I see you're working very hard, waitress Joe, and I will pay for this meal."
I almost thought you were going to be like, and then he came back and helped me, but he didn't.
And he came in the dream coat. No. I bought my
this is not how this is not a happy story. This is a
bought my entire section lunch that day. My entire section. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tom, the manager, was not happy, but he was also too busy. But he was very nice. They all wanted iced tea. Who does that?
Joseph, that's another Andrew Lloyd Webber musical, and like not a. Oh, you do?
I love it.
You know, I actually was in a production of that many years ago, and it's.
I love it. I secretly listen
to Jacob and Sons.
I listen to that.
I can't. I get post-traumatic stress from anything related to it, and I just can't.
You know, speaking of musicals about, I know we got to wrap up. Speaking of musicals about God and Jesus and stuff, I actually saw. Speaking of '80s stars, I saw a production of Godspell in Myrtle Beach, starring Rex Smith.
Wow.
Remember Rex Smith?
That's Mad Libs. You just did Mad Libs.
You guys, I have to run. I'm so late to a call. I gotta go.
Okay, we got
Donny Osmond, you suck. Joe,
he was very nice. He was very nice. Other than that,
he was very nice. He still ripped you and your manager off. I'm sure that came out of your tips. Come on, Donny Osmond. You're Donny Osmond.
No.
Osmond money there.
Oh God, if he's listening, I'll be mortified.
I don't know. I got to tell you, that's not how I thought this was going to end. All right, bye everybody.
Bye everyone. Have a great. We'll see you Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Same place. See you later.